This video covers some of the things you'll want to keep in mind when looking into registering your business name, including making sure that name is unique, how to figure out which registrations are most appropriate for you, and a few other methods that can help you protect your business name. Here's a quick story to illustrate what's at stake when it comes to registering and protecting your business name, starring The Body Shop. You're probably familiar with the global cosmetic chain based in the UK. Well, in the beginning it was, I'll just say, very similar to an American store called The Body Shop, which had stores in Berkeley and San Francisco back in the 70s. To cut a long story short, the UK version shelled out $3.5 million to get the rights to the name in 1991, and the very next year, the original Body Shop in California changed its name to Body Time. Regardless of the details of how it all went down, it's a good example of why you should take choosing, registering, and protecting your business name seriously. Before you attempt to register your business name, it's important to choose a name that's unique. There are a couple reasons for this. One is to avoid confusion. The other is to avoid potential legal trouble with a business that has the same name as yours, or even just a similar one. Here are some tips for choosing a business name that no one else is using. The first is to do a quick peace of mind check. Google the name that you're interested in to see who else is using the same or similar names to the one that you want. Let's say I want to name my new yoga studio Strong and Steady Studio. A Google search for Strong and Steady Yoga brings up a few classes and videos that have Strong and Steady in the name, but none in an actual studio called Strong and Steady. Then I Googled Strong and Steady Studio, and still nothing that looks like a yoga studio, so it could be a likely candidate. But even if a Google search for your exact specific name comes up fairly clean, such as Hershey's Salty Snacks, I just made that up, it's best to avoid the name of well-known companies, even if they don't seem to be doing business in the US. But here's the really important step. Search the US Trademark database. This will show you how many other people have registered business names that are the same as or similar to yours. So when I search Strong and Steady, there are two close results. One's listed as dead, so I probably don't need to worry about that one. The live one, though, let's see what kind of business it is. That could be considered an overlap with yoga classes, but the owner is a physical therapist, so maybe it's not closely related. This example shows how tricky this process can be, and ultimately there's no substitute for good legal advice if you come across any potential issues in the US, or if you have plans to expand globally. There are lots of useful guides on the US Patent and Trademarks Office website relating to business names, trademarks, and the whole application process in general, so do check them out. Now, let's say you've done all of the above, spoken to a lawyer perhaps, and you're satisfied that your preferred business name is unique. Check to see if you even need to register it at all. In some states, if you're using your own legal name and nothing else, you don't need to register that. Otherwise, depending on what state you're in, you may still be required to register your own name as a business name. So even though my name is Elizabeth Yu, if my preferred business name is Elizabeth Yu Consulting Group, in many states I would need to register that. Of course, if your business name is completely unrelated to your name, such as Startup Savvy Consulting, you should definitely look into the requirements for registering it. A name like this is known as a fictitious business name, or a trade name, or even a DBA, which stands for Doing Business As. The same logic applies if your business is a corporation or LLC, and the business name that you want to use with the public is not exactly the same as the name of the corporation or LLC. To illustrate what I mean here, let's say you incorporated a business called the International Strong and Steady Institute, Inc. But you plan to do business as Strong and Steady Yoga in some cases, and the Steady Yoga Institute in others. You'd need to consider registering both of those names as separate trade names of the International Strong and Steady Yoga Institute. The state that you're in should have guides available to walk you through the specific requirements. Now here's another area where things get confusing. Just because you've registered your business name with the state does not necessarily mean that no other businesses can use that name. If you're looking for that type of protection, consider registering your business name, along with your logo and tagline, etc., with the United States Patent and Trademarks Office. Again, check out those guides on their website for their latest suggestions and complete instructions. The key point here is that registration for trademark protection with the USPTO helps give you legal protection for your business names, but registering with a state does not necessarily, so consider doing them both. And now a few bonus tips. Even before you make a decision on whether to formally register or protect your business name, there are several things you can do to minimize the chances that some other business will attempt to use the same one. The first is to buy the domain name, for instance, strongandsteady.com. You can also go to every single social media site and sign up using that name. You don't have to actually be active on all those sites. You can just secure the name and leave a note there asking people to contact you via your website or Facebook or email, whatever you do plan to actually monitor, rather than giving people the mistaken impression that they can reach you on some social media site that you don't plan to use. But that's a different video. If you do all of the above, you'll have a much stronger leg to stand on in the event of future legal squabbles over the name. And who knows, maybe a few years down the road, some big company will offer you $3.5 million for the brilliant name that you chose. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our other small business guides.